The types of videos I absolutely cannot stand when it comes to English learning and YouTube are these videos about don't say this word, don't say that word, don't say this common word, even though it's a common word. It's a word that everybody uses. Instead, use this complex word that nobody uses. And these videos absolutely frustrate the hell out of me. And let me tell you why. First is because they are trying to teach you a word that maybe no one uses that often and trying to move you away from using words that everyone uses on an everyday basis. The word common is there for a reason. These are common words. So please use those words because they're the words that we mostly use in English. The second reason I don't like them is because the words that they tell you to use are maybe not even connected to the word they're telling you not to use. I've found many situations where they say use this word, but it's not necessarily a synonym for the word that they're giving you. That it requires a different context or maybe isn't even used that way at all. So I find a lot of these in these types of videos. And the third reason is this whole idea of discouraging people from learning English. They give you this belief that if you want to sound like a native English speaker, you have to use these complex words. You can't just use the common words. Again, common words. And today I want to start looking at those videos in my first episode of Don't Say This Word in English. And it's pretty bad that I have to have episodes of this because these errors and these issues are all over the internet. So let's dive in to our first video and our first episode. So I was preparing videos for today's video, looking at these don't say very videos, which are all over the place, which are telling you not to use the common word very because it's a common word. No, instead use these complicated words that nobody uses or use very rarely. And, I wanted to get these videos together to kind of show you how maybe ridiculous or how out of place many of these alternatives are. But then I came across one video that really kind of stuck out to me. And, this video actually took the cake. And yes, that pun was intended because we are talking about piece of cake English, which is also known as POC English. When we say PO, we usually think POS, and that means piece of...
You're just a lazy POS.
Something else. Now, again, I digressed. That's not what this video is about. I'm just saying, could have picked a better name for the channel. But today I want to look at a 60-second short, or maybe it was a 30-second short. I don't remember. It's a short video that POC English did about not using the word very, because honestly, this one absolutely missed me. This one wrinkles my brain in a different way that I didn't expect it to. And I was going to have this in a collage of a lot of other very videos or don't say very videos. But honestly, this one, again, takes the cake. And on top of that, I'm going to go ahead and give my opinion about these words at the end. We're going to look at what people say in the comments, and I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to read their comments, and then I'll finally say something at the end. All right, so let's go ahead and watch the video here.
Stop saying very all the time. Hey, let's go to a restaurant. Nah, I'm okay. God, you are indolent.
All right, the word indolent. Now, again, like I said, let's just go to the comments. I'm not going to say anything. Let's just see what the comments have to say before I interject my opinion on this. As an English speaker, I can proudly say I have never said indolent in my life. Same. Many people won't know what you mean if you say indolent because it is an uncommon word. I have never heard anyone say the word indolent in my entire life. Native speakers never use the word indolent, and I never heard indolent used until today. Bro, I never heard the word indolent in my life. Who the hell uses the word indolent? Who's actually going to use the word indolent in public? I've never in my life heard something, I think they mean someone, say indolent. Instead of using advanced words such as indolent, and they have it in quotes, just use really. Really. Okay, we get it. You know English too well, but we don't know what indolent is. I heard indolent for the first time. Indolent is a word no one uses. Indolent? Who uses the word indolent, bro? No one says indolent. I've never heard someone say that. Indolent? Don't say indolent. Not even native English speakers know that word. So if you can figure it out here, the word indolent is never used. I mean, it's never used in English. In fact, I have probably used the word indolent more talking about this short video than I have my entire existence on this planet. It is not a word that you use normally. It's not even a word that you would write. My mom, who has this amazing knowledge of vocabulary, she even says she never uses the word indolent. She doesn't even know anyone that uses the word indolent. Like, no one uses indolent. So here's an example right here where indolent, the word that he gives, is just never used. And I actually talked to someone who is an IELTS teacher that I know who lives up in Canada, and I asked them, I said, listen, if somebody used indolent in their IELTS exam, would that matter? And they said no, because just knowing and memorizing advanced vocabulary words is not going to help you with the IELTS. It doesn't necessarily mean that you understand the language. We're still going to look at your grammar structure. We're still going to look at your pronunciation. We're still going to look at everything. So if you use indolent in this case, but then the rest of your speaking exam is just crap, it's not going to help you. So yeah, no one uses indolent. Don't use indolent. Again, I've probably said the word indolent more right now talking to you than I have my entire life. No one uses it.
No, I'm just exhausted. Come on, I'm starving. Look at yourself. You should go on a diet. You are obese.
Fuck me. Okay, before we get into the comments, I know I'm obese. My ass needs to get on a treadmill. I know that. I'm very fat. Yeah, but let's just go to the comments. You are obese. I don't know if that even makes it nicer, because people call people that as insults. If I told someone they were obese, they'd drop kick me in the blink of an eye. Absolutely. Correction, never call someone obese. It is extremely offensive. The reply, very offensive. As an American, no, just no. Do not call people obese. Guys, remember, fat doesn't always mean obese. And this is true, so I can say I got a fat paycheck this weekend, and that can mean that you got a lot more pay than you expected, like a lot of money. You wouldn't say I got an obese paycheck this weekend. You just wouldn't say that. How to lose a friend. Look at yourself. You are obese. Yeah, if you go around saying that to people, remember, like the other guy said, they'd probably drop kick you. I'd rather say very fat. If you call someone obese, it hurts more than calling them very fat. Did he just call his friend obese? ? Instead of obese, it might hurt their feelings, so I'd rather say overweight. You are obese. Wow. So as you can see in these situations, people are saying, don't call somebody obese. It is extremely offensive. And like, you wouldn't even go to somebody and say, you were very fat. Like that one comment said, this is a great way to lose a friend. If you comment on people's weight, especially in the United States, you're going to lose a friend. That person's going to treat you like shit. Or maybe even worse, they'll drop kick you like that one guy said. Don't say to anyone you are very fat, and don't say they're obese. Again, like that one comment said, it doesn't necessarily mean it's the same, but it's extremely offensive. It's extremely wrong. And don't do this. And this goes into something further I want to talk about, which is language appropriateness. And I'm going to do a video on this in the future, but there are just appropriate things we say in appropriate settings. And saying something like, you are very fat, or you are very obese, or even really talking about somebody's weight like that, in the United States would be considered extremely, extremely rude. Don't do that. Don't be that asshole. Don't say somebody is obese.
Have food in the fridge and it's delicious. You make me depressed sometimes, you know.
All right, so let's go ahead and look at the comments. 110. This one might take a while. Very sad and depressed are different. This hurts me to know it was used in another way of saying very sad due to my own experiences in my life. The depressed one isn't a synonym because you can't be depressed sometimes. You're depressed all the time or never. However, you can be sad, then be happy the next day. Keep in mind, depressed and sad are two different things. Depressed is a completely different word. Depressed and sad are not the same thing. Sad means unhappy. Depression is a mental illness. Depressed is a condition where you are sad for a long time. Sad is temporary. Bro, depressed is a whole nother level of sadness. It's not the same. Depressed is more deeper than sadness, and he didn't seem that sad. He just seemed a little sad. I recommend not saying you're depressed because it may sound like you're making fun of depression. Being depressed and sad isn't the same. Stop using depressed when you mean sad or very sad because it's completely different. Some people who actually suffer from depression might even feel bad for this. And that's one thing that I want to mention before continuing with these comments is you might actually say that you're sad instead of depressed, okay? So that people know you do not suffer from depression. So if there is something that's making you very sad, you would say, yeah, I'm very upset or I'm very sad about this. And you would say that to clarify that this is not a state that you are in constantly. So I actually disagree with him. It would be better to say it the other way so people don't confuse that the fact that you might have depression or not. Saying the word sad clarifies that. Excuse me, depressed and very sad should not be switched up. Depression is a legitimate medical thing. Sadness is just temporary. Bro, depressed and sad are two different things. And then right below that, my guy really said depressed? Let me stop you there. Depressed and being very sad is not the same thing. It's like saying ADHD is just a phase. All right. And there are like another 75 comments that I just don't want to go through right now. But one thing I do want to say is that you can say depressing instead of depressed. So we can say the weather is depressing outside or the situation is depressing. So he could have said to a friend, sometimes you're really depressing. And that is a little bit different than calling somebody depressed. When you say depressing, it can actually mean like, you bring down the mood. You are depressing. We can say, this weather is depressing. It's bringing down our mood. The weather doesn't cause depression. So in this participle adjective, whether we put ed or ing at the end, can maybe change it a little bit. But in this case, saying depressed, yes, depression and being depressed is actually significantly different than being sad. Now that we've gone through this video, because he only had like 6 words and 3 of them, he really didn't give you a correct answer. I want to talk about a few things here. The first one is that, indolent, just don't use that. No one uses that. I bet if you came to the United States, you went on the streets of New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, Miami, wherever, and said the word, you ask somebody, what does the word indolent mean? They won't know. Like I guarantee you 90% of the people won't know. So don't say that. The second thing, I think with both the obese and the depression thing, it shows that he doesn't have necessarily an awareness, a cultural awareness or anything as to the appropriateness of what you would say to somebody. Now, I can't speak for Australia or the UK or anything like that, but what he says in these situations would be considered quite inappropriate to say to somebody. And appropriateness is important, and the words you choose when you talk to somebody is important. This is the reason why you can't just take one word that might mean another word and change it, because by changing that word, you might be changing the appropriateness of what you're saying, and it can come across as rude or not caring or just, again, coming across as a dick, which you don't want to do. So I just wanted to make this first video about the don't say this word. And it's important to know when you look at a lot of these videos, you have to watch them with a grain of salt, because he has 116,000 likes on this video. That means 116,000 people are going to say, this word indolent, okay, it must be something Americans or Brits or whatever say all the time. It isn't. It just isn't. And it's this kind of misleading information that I hate when it comes to the online teaching community. So thank you very much. That's all I want to do today. If you want to take lessons with me, just go to davesenglish.com where you can sign up for lessons. The link's down below. I will talk to you later. Have a wonderful day wherever it is you... I can't talk today myself. Wherever it is you are, and I'll see you later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.